Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're looking at, well, a really actionable blueprint for financial reinvention.
Yeah, based around real estate investment, but specifically raw land.
Exactly. Turning raw dirt into peace, profit, and purpose. It's quite a story.
It really is. And this deep dive, it's kind of geared towards anyone looking for a second act.
Especially maybe midlife women who feel a bit tired of the usual path.
Absolutely. So the core story we're unpacking, it's intense.
It starts with immense loss, right?
Yeah, the author navigated just back-to-back crises. First, the heartbreaking loss of her son to cystic fibrosis.
Oh, that's devastating.
And then almost immediately after, the total collapse of her business.
And this wasn't like a small side project either.
No, not at all. It was a six-figure, internationally known vegan food empire.
Restaurants, a Food Network spot, the works.
The works. And it all crumbled. Combination of COVID, shifting markets, and this is important, perimenopausal burnout.
That combination sounds just overwhelming.
Totally.
Yeah.
She realized those, 60-hour weeks running on adrenaline, it just wasn't sustainable anymore.
The collapse wasn't just about money then.
No, it was a huge signal, a loud one. She needed a system that valued peace, not just relentless growth.
So the pivot, what did she do?
The ultimate pivot, really. Sold everything.
Everything.
Yep. Bought an RV and spent 2 years on the road.
Wow. Just traveling.
Not just traveling, it was active research, visiting tiny home communities. Texas, Kenya, Costa Rica.
So figuring out what that minimalist, intentional life actually looked like on the ground.
Exactly. And all that research, it led to founding Tiny Renaissance Homes in her 50s.
Tiny Renaissance Homes, I like that name.
Yeah, the whole idea is building these wellness-focused, minimalist micro-communities.
Using affordable rural land.
That's the key.
Okay, so our mission here, for you listening, is to pull out that blueprint she developed.
Right. If you're ready to stop working harder and figure out how to work wiser.
To build something tangible, something lasting, this is for you.
This is your shortcut.
Okay, let's get right into it. The asset class itself, raw land. She had limited capital after, the business collapse, paying off debt.
Right. But she had a big vision.
And she chose raw land, bought the first plots with cash, avoided banks altogether.
That was crucial. The anti-debt approach.
Yeah.
She bought raw, undeveloped land.
What did those first buys look like? Can you give us the specifics?
Yeah, the first one, 1.623 acres. It had a pond and even a well already.
For how much?
$20,000 cash.
20,000. Wow. Okay.
And the second?
That was 3.03 acres, more wooded, kind of a pine forest setting. 30,000 for that one.
Okay, that sounds amazing, but let's be real. Is land at that price point, 20, 30,000, actually accessible? Or is it, in the middle of nowhere with huge compromises?
Well, that's why people are calling it the last affordable asset class.
Okay.
We are talking raw, rural land, often unserviced. But think about it. For less than a down payment on a typical starter home...
You own it outright. 100% ownership. And you skip the HOAs, the crazy city property taxes, inheriting repairs.
Right. No hidden problems from a previous owner.
Exactly. So it is accessible. You just have to redefine what move-in ready means.
The big mental hurdle, though, for most people is unserviced.
Oh, yeah.
They hear $20 K land and immediately think, no power, no water. That's impossible.
And that's where her personal story gives such clarity.
How so?
Well, she found that after dealing with the profound grief of losing her son and clawing her way out of 6 figures of debt,
Yeah.
challenges like calling the county about a water meter or finding an electrician, they seemed, manageable, learnable.
That puts it in perspective. The fear of getting utilities hooked up kind of pales in comparison.
Totally. When you face true life-altering loss, a septic permit doesn't seem quite so scary.
Okay, so let's summarize the appeal then. For a first-time investor, maybe someone totally new to real estate, why raw rural land instead of, say, a rental condo?
Okay, 4 big advantages pop out. First, affordability. Like we said, you can still find plots, $5,000 up to maybe $50,000.
Still possible. Okay.
Second, freedom and vision. You're starting from zero. You design it. Glamping, retreat center, tiny homes. It's your call.
You're the architect.
Exactly. Third, ease of scaling. You don't need to build everything at once. Start small. 1 tent platform. 1 tiny home.
Let it pay for the next one.
Let us cash flow the expansion. And fourth, reduced bureaucracy.
Less red tape.
Often, yeah. Rural towns can be more flexible, more open to RVs, park models, container homes, things like that. Easier sometimes with utilities, too.
It's a compelling story, but okay, let's talk structure. She admits her first approach was more intuitive, buy the land, then figure it out.
Which is a huge risk, a really common mistake.
So how does she fix that? How does she build the strategic blueprint we can actually follow?
Right, this is where it shifts from just intuition to a solid strategy. The key is front-loading all the homework, the due diligence, before you buy.
Okay, walk us through those essential pre-purchase steps. What absolutely has to happen first?
Step one is actually pretty introspective. Define your vision and your non-negotiables. Okay. Like the why. Exactly. Why are you even doing this? What's the core purpose? And then, what must the property have? Mountains, water, within an hour of a city.
Get crystal clear on that first.
So the land you eventually buy actually fits the life or the business you're trying to build.
Okay, vision is set, non-negotiables listed. What's the next more practical deep dive?
Step two, validate the market and legal foundations. This is where you kill bad deals early.
Due diligence time.
Big time. Researching zoning, what can you legally do there? Checking for legal access, this is huge. And validating utility feasibility.
Hold on, legal access, you said that's huge. Why is that such a common trap for raw land buyers?
Because if you don't have recorded legal access, like an official easement or road frontage written into the deed, that land might be worthless.
Even if there's a dirt path leading to it.
Even then, if that path crosses someone else's property without a legal right-of-way, you could be landlocked. Banks won't touch it. You might not even be able to get permits.
Okay, critical check and market validation.
Yeah, same step. You need to check if your vision actually makes sense in that location. Use tools like AirDNA.
AirDNA, what's that?
It gives you data on how short-term rentals are actually performing nearby. Comps, occupancy rates, nightly rates.
So you know if there's real demand for your glamping tents or tiny cabins.
Exactly. Data beats gut feeling here.
Smart. Okay, so land looks legally okay. Market seems promising. What about the money?
Step three, assess your capital and funding plan before you start looking seriously at listings.
Figure out what you can actually afford.
Precisely. How are you paying for this? Savings? Consulting income, like she used cutting your own overhead, like living in the RV?
Or loans, grants?
Yeah, looking into things like USDA rural development loans, maybe grants, or even creative options like seller financing. Knowing your capital pool sets your price range.
Which leads right into the step that really separates the pros from the dreamers.
The financial modeling.
Yeah.
Step four, model it. Financial feasibility.
This has to happen before you commit, right?
Absolutely. Before you put any capital down, you run the numbers. Does this plan actually work on paper?
What numbers specifically?
Key stuff. Your ROI, return on investment, what's your profit relative to your cost, your capitalization rate, it's like the annual return rate on the property itself, and your break-even point. When does the income start covering all the costs?
If the math doesn't work?
You walk away. No matter how much you love the trees or the view, buy boldly, yes, but only after meticulous planning.
Okay, let's shift to value creation. You've bought the land, it passed the tests, now you have this, patch of dirt.
Inert dirt, yeah.
The sources really emphasize that adding infrastructure is the first key step to increasing value, even before you build anything.
Infrastructure is the currency of raw land, seriously.
Yeah.
Every dollar you spend making it accessible, getting utilities hooked up,
it increases the resale value.
Exponentially. The sources actually give numbers. Putting in a proper legal access road, that can bump the land's value 15% to 25%.
Wow, okay.
Getting electricity run to the property line, add another 20% to 35%. Water access, maybe 15% to 30%.
So that initial $20,000 lot we talked about.
Right. You spend maybe $5,000, $10,000 on those basic improvements, road, power, water access.
And suddenly it could be worth, what, $35,000?
$45,000.
Easily. Just because you solved the biggest headaches for the next buyer or for your own development.
And you mentioned a really interesting tip about utilities.
Yeah.
About the cost of running those lines.
Yeah, this is a great one. Most people just assume they have to pay the full whack to get power lines extended to their property.
Which can be thousands, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But here's the tip. You have to ask the local electric provider about installation allowances.
Allowances. They give you money.
Sometimes, yes. It's not always advertised. But many rural electric co-ops or providers have programs where they'll cover part or even all of the cost to bring the line to your meter base. How much are we talking?
It varies wildly, depends on the area, the distance. But the author found examples saving anywhere from $1,500 up to $9,000.
Just by asking the right question.
Free infrastructure. You just have to inquire.
Okay, so infrastructure adds value, but the author was even smarter. She figured out how to make money before building permanent structures.
Yes. monetizing the dormant dirt. This was strategically brilliant.
She ended up with two income streams, right? The tiny homes and a glamping retreat.
Correct.
How did she pull off hosting a women's CEO's retreat, presumably a profitable one on raw land, before any cabins were built?
She sold the experience, not the four walls.
Wow.
That 3-acre wooded lot, it offered silence, nature, a digital detox, things people are desperate for today.
Premium commodities.
Absolutely. So she used high-end, temporary tent platforms, think luxury camping. She sold the peace, the connection, the environment itself.
So the dormant dirt became an income-producing asset almost immediately.
Right away. And that cash flow helped fund the later, more permanent construction phases.
That taps directly into this huge trend, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Wellness tourism, experiential travel.
Massive. We're talking a global industry projected to hit, what, $1.42 trillion by 2028.
$1 trillion.
Yeah. People will pay good money to disconnect, recharge, immerse themselves in nature.
There are examples of this working.
Oh, yeah. The sources mention Isaac French's place near Waco, Live Oak Lake. Tiny home retreat.
What happened with that?
He built it, focused on that experience, and sold it just 2 years later for a reported $2.5 million profit.
Wow.
The lesson is, building intentionally, focusing on wellness and the experience, can generate serious returns. It's not just about the structures.
It sounds incredible, but also like a lot of work, especially starting over in your 50s.
It is, which is why we need to talk about the mindset stuff, the roadblocks.
Yeah, the psychological hurdles. The sources mention high-performing women in particular often get stuck.
Common self-limiting beliefs.
Like myth number 1, I need to know construction. I have to be handy.
Right. And the author completely debunks this, her background. Psychology degree, then tech, not construction.
So how did she manage building things?
Curiosity, delegation, and not being afraid to ask questions. Asking contractors to explain things slowly, simply.
And she used AI too, right? As a sort of digital assistant.
Yes, strategically. Tools like ChatGPT, Perplexity AI, KPIX AI.
Not just for fun, but for actual problem solving.
Exactly. Quick research on zoning laws, comparing septic system layouts, running financial models, stuff that used to mean hiring expensive consultants.
You don't need to be handy. You need to be resourceful.
Resourceful, a good delegator, and willing to ask smart questions, whether it's to a human or an AI.
Okay, what about myth number 2? The idea that real estate, especially something creative like this, is just a gut game.
Ah, the intuition myth. That one's dangerous.
Why?
Because, as the author puts it perfectly, real estate is a numbers game with a heartbeat.
A numbers game with a heartbeat. I like that.
Intuition guides the vision that's the heartbeat. What feels right, the aesthetics, the
Yes.
purpose. But the business itself runs on hard math. Those core ratios we talked about, ROI, cap rate, break even,
The numbers have to work.
they must work. You can fall in love with the land, but if the financials don't pencil out, it's a hobby, not an investment. Or worse, a money pit.
And the final piece, maybe the most crucial for long-term success. Making sure this new venture didn't just recreate the burnout of her old business.
Yes, building a system for peace alongside the system for profit.
That sounds essential, especially after what she went through.
It's maybe the biggest takeaway for anyone listening.
Yeah.
You have to build a life system in parallel with the land system,
What does that look like practically?
fiercely protecting what she calls your decision-making calories.
Decision-making calories.
Yeah, you know, that finite mental energy you have each day, not wasting it on endless, small, unimportant tasks.
How do you protect them?
Scheduling joy. Actively putting things you love on the calendar. And, really important, creating a no list.
A no list.
A clear list of things you simply will not do. Requests you won't entertain, commitments you won't make, because they drain energy without adding value.
That level of boundary setting sounds almost more demanding than the financial planning.
It has to be, to sustain the energy needed. The sources even touch on this trend of removing external noise.
Like getting rid of TVs.
Yeah, citing that over 17% of U.S. adults won't own a TV in 2025. It's seen as a strategy for mental wellness, for preserving focus.
Protecting your energy to create.
Exactly. This whole second act is about sovereignty, financial, creative, personal. And sovereignty requires strong boundaries.
Okay, so we've walked through the whole blueprint, from that catalyst of profound loss to finding this niche in raw land.
Mastering infrastructure, front-loading the due diligence.
And building in systems not just for profit, but for personal peace and sustainability. The big takeaway seems clear. It's not too late to start something like this. You're not too old. In fact, you might be perfectly primed.
Your life experience, your resilience, the clarity that often comes midlife, those are the real assets here, more than a real estate license or a trust fund.
And it comes back to the author's why, doesn't it? Her deeper motivation.
Absolutely. Legacy. Building something tangible, something resilient, something sovereign for her daughter, now her granddaughter, Grayson.
And in memory of her son.
In his memory. It's about ownership, built with integrity, built with strategy, not just fueled by debt and adrenaline like the first time around.
Which brings us to that final, really provocative thought for you, the listener.
Yeah, this one makes you think.
The author had $20,000. She invested it in raw land. A courage investment, you could say.
High potential for return, both financial and personal liberation.
And she explicitly chose not to put that same $20,000 into her teenage daughter's $529 college savings plan.
Which felt like the safe option, but was projected to yield maybe 0.5% to 2.5% a year. Super conservative.
Her choice wasn't just brave, it was deeply strategic, calculated even.
So the question for you is this.
When are you choosing the safe, low-yield option, maybe out of habit, maybe out of fear, instead of making the courage investment that could actually build the tangible, liberating future you say you want?
That really reframes risk, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Something to chew on. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive.
We'll see you on the next deep dive.